day everyone to our team leaders and our aspiring team leaders. So andito pa din po tayo sa Module 2 of our lead training program. So our Module 2 of our lead training program is about developing our leadership skills. So as we have discussed earlier, na-discuss na natin yung effective communication techniques. We also discussed about active listening skills, and yung third natin is the building rapport and effectively motivates our team members. So right now, andito na tayo sa pang-apat na topic for our module number 2. So sa pang-apat na topic of our module number 2, chapter 1, this is about managing conflicts. So, napaka-importante po nito at talagang naka-step by step po tayo. Nag-start tayo with the communication, active listening, building rapport, and now, it's time for us to know how to manage conflicts in our workplace. But before anything else, let us define first, ano nga ba ang conflict? Pag sinabi natin conflict, it is a struggle between people, which may be physical, pwedeng pag-aaway talaga na may halong physical, or between conflicting ideas. Posible naman na nagkakaroon ng conflict dahil magkaiba lang tayo ng idea. It can be defined as a friction between individuals. So may friction between individuals. Due to differences of opinions, magkakaiba ng opinion, magkakaiba ng idea, magkakaiba ng paniniwala, magkakaiba ng values or ugali, magkakaiba ng needs, or magkakaiba ng objectives. Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng conflict. Conflicts can either be within one person, pwedeng isang tao lang, ikaw lang mismo may conflict, yung iba naman wala namang problema, or they can involve several people or groups. Pwedeng madaming tao or in a way talagang grupo-grupo na yung conflict. So ano-ano nga ba yung mga types of conflict? So nabanggit ko kanina, there are 4 types of conflict. So number 1 is yung tinatawag natin na intrapersonal conflict. Pag sinabi po natin intrapersonal conflict, it arises within a person. So ikaw lang mismo yung may problema or ikaw lang mismo yung may conflict. For example, kapag hindi ka certain or hindi ka sure kung ano ba yung ini-expect mo or kung ano ba yung gusto mo, or meron kang sense of being inadequate, so hindi sapat yung iyong knowledge to perform a task. This is a classic example of yung tinatawag natin na intrapersonal conflict. Next is yung tinatawag natin na interpersonal conflict. So ano naman po ito? Nangyayari po ito kapag 2 or more people, yung meron ng dalawa or higit pa man na tao, ang nagdi-disagree about particular topic or particular issue. So dito na pumapasok yung disagreements, dahil nga magkakaiba yung ating goals, minsan dahil magkakaiba tayo ng ugali or magkakaiba yung pagpapalaki sa atin, magkakaiba yung pananaw natin sa bagay-bagay, or dahil hindi nga tayo parehas ng access to resources. Okay? Ayan. Pangatlo ay yung tinatawag natin na intergroup conflict. So medyo malakihan na po ito kasi ito naman yung mga disagreement or confrontation na between 2 or more groups and their members. So such as between work departments or entire company. So katulad na lamang ng retail and marketing team. So nagkakaroon ng conflict kasi hindi nagkakasundo dun sa proseso. So yun yung classic example of yung tinatawag natin na intergroup conflict. And lastly is yung tinatawag natin na functional conflict. Pag sinabi naman natin functional conflict, this is within the organization. So sa buong organisasyon na po ito. Madalas, it involves productive disagreement where the end goal is improvement within the organization or team. Bakit natin siya tinatawag na productive disagreement? Kasi ang end goal ng ating discussion or conflict resolution is para magkaroon ng mas maayos na proseso at para mas magiging smooth yung takbo ng ating organisasyon. Ngayon naman, na alam na natin kung ano yung mga types of conflict, let us revisit ano nga ba ang dahilan or bakit nga ba nag-a-arise yung tinatawag natin na conflict. Kung mapapansin natin sa diagram or dito sa clip art na pinapakita sa ating presentation, minsan or madalas na ang nakikita lang ng tao is yung behavior kasi ito lang yung nagre-reflect, ito lang yung nakikita natin sa facade ng tao. But pag sinabi kasi natin conflict, there are times mas deeper pa pala yung meaning, or there are deeper reasons for that particular conflict. So it might includes worldview, yung pananaw natin, beliefs, yung ating paniniwala, and values, yung ating kung paano tayo pinalaki, or kung ano yung mga natutunan natin sa bahay pa lamang. Ayan. So, kung mapapansin niyo sa diagram, mas maliit lang yung portion yung nakikita kumpara dun sa what is hidden. So, why does conflict arise? So, number one is yung tinatawag po natin na personal differences. So, sa totoo lang po, wala talagang dalawang tao na magkaparehas or na magkaparehas ng ugali. Talagang iba-iba tayo ng ugali. Kahit nasabihin natin, uy, parehas silang nice or parehas silang friendly, pero may kanya-kanya talagang unique na traits ang bawat tao. Pangalawa is we see things differently. Meron tayong iba-ibang perspective. Kung maalala ninyo yung number na 9, di ba? Kung number na 9 at nakaharap sa'yo, ang basa mo niyan ay 9. Pero kung andun ka naman sa likod or nandun ka naman sa taas, pag nakabaliktad naman yung 9, possible na ang basa naman ng ibang tao ay number 6. So, isa lang po itong example, pero ang meaning po nito ay may kanya-kanya tayong pananaw, may kanya-kanya tayong pag-intindi sa bawat bagay. Kaya hindi po talaga, minsan ito yung nagiging reason kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng conflict. Pangatlo is we have different ideologies. So ano ba yung ideologies? Dito na papasok yung ating values, beliefs, at worldview or yung mga pananaw natin sa buhay. So yan, iba-iba tayo kasi iba-iba naman ang pagpapalaki ko sa atin. Iba-iba tayo ng yung tinatawag natin na religion, iba-iba tayo ng family culture. So dito pumapasok yung different ideologies. Number 4 is we have different approach to problem solving. Ayan. So dito madalas na nagkakaroon ng friction na tinatawag kasi for example merong nag-arise or na problem or concern. So may ibang tao kasi nakalmado lang. So it's their way of yun yung approach nila para ma-solve yung problem. Kalmado para makapag-isip sila ng maayos. Meron na bang ibang tao na masyadong agitated, so masyadong namomroblema agad or hindi mapakali. So yun naman yung way nila to address yung frustrations nila. So dahil dito na magkakaiba tayo ng approach sa problem solving, nagkakaroon ng conflict minsan kasi naiinis yung kalmado dahil masyadong agitated yung ibang tao, mas napapatagal yung problema. Naiinis naman ngayon yung masyadong agitated or masyadong worry kasi naiinis sila kasi parang pinagsasawalang bahala lang kasi kalmado nga lang yung iba. So dito nagkakaroon ng yung tinatawag natin na different approaches. Next is yung poor communication channels and information deficiencies. So mabuti na lamang at natakil natin yung communication, yung number 1 topic natin for this module, yung effective communication. Dahil kung dito pa lamang po poor na yung communication channels natin, hindi na maayos, it will result to information deficiencies. So, ano ba yung tinatawag natin na information deficiencies? Dito na papasok yung dagdag bawas dun sa kwento. Kaya mas lalo pang nagiging magulo or mas lalo pang nagiging malaki yung conflict. Next is yung role incompatibility. So ano ba yung tinatawag natin na role incompatibility? So minsan, for example, classic example is Candy Corner. Alam naman natin na madami tayong ginagawang reports. Hindi talaga kaya talaga, kailangan talaga na mas mataas din yung level of understanding natin in terms of job functions. Kailangan meron na tayong enough na experience kasi yung iba na hindi pa nasubukan yung mga reports na ginagawa natin, POS, online sales channel, nagkakaroon tayo ngayon ng role incompatibility kasi hindi swak doon sa experience niya yung requirements ng Candy Corner. So yun, kaya andito tayo ngayon, nagkakaroon tayo ng lead training para ma-level up natin yung ating skills at para at least kahit papano ay matugunan natin yung pangangailangan at ma-elevate natin yung ating skills to be a team leader. Next is number 7 is yung tinatawag natin na competition for limited resources. So sometimes napakaliit na resources, nag-aaway-away pa tayo. Ito yung dahilan kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng conflict. So for example na lang is yung stocks, di ba? Nag-aaway-away kung kanino ba dapat i-deliver. So yun, though sa atin naman hindi naman natin madalas ito nagiging problema, pero sa ibang mga industry ito yung mga nagiging problema. Number 8 is we have differences in goals, values, and principles. So, kasama na din po dito itong sa number 2, parang yung number 2 na din po natin, yung we see things differently, we have different ideologies. This time naman is we have different set of goals. Iba pala yung objective or iba pala yung visions ng ibang tao or ng ibang grupo, iba din pala yung sa atin. Kaya hindi tayo nagkakasalubong. Next is yung tinatawag natin na organization interdepartment friction. So ito na nga yung naging example ko kanina. For example, may problema si marketing sa retail, so nagkakaroon ngayon ng friction or pagtatalo dahil sa isang proseso na gustong ipa-implement ni marketing at ayaw naman or nahihirapan naman ngayon si retail. So yan. And lastly is yung tinatawag natin na environmental stress. Minsan, wala naman tayo talagang problema. Kaya naman natin yung i-resolve yung mga conflict or yung mga problems. But dahil nga sa environment, due to environment, nagkakaroon tayo ng stress. So in a way, parang na-frustrate tayo, na expose tayo, or nabu-burnout tayo. So yun lang, kailangan lang natin i-manage yung ating stress para at least makapag-isip tayo ng maayos para ma-manage natin or maayos natin kung ano man yung mga conflict na nag-a-arise. Okay, so ano nga ba ang effects ng conflict in our organization? Actually, kung mapapansin niyo, pag sinabi kasi nating conflict, negative agad yung ating iniisip pagdating sa conflict. Yan. But there are positive effects as well kapag nagkakaroon ng conflict in an organization. Number 1 is it triggers the need for searching new facts and solutions. So, ibig sabihin, dahil nga nagkaroon ng conflict, it will trigger ngayon doon sa mga stakeholders na gumawa or mag-produce ng proseso or ng solutions doon sa particular na conflict or doon sa particular na problem. So, yun nga, it triggers the need for searching new facts and solutions. Ayan. In a way, it improves ngayon the group cohesiveness. Ano ba yung group cohesiveness? Cohesiveness meaning yung unity ng bawat grupo. Dahil nga, di ba, na-trigger na ngayon at kailangan natin maghanap ng solusyon, kailangan natin ayusin yung proseso. So dahil dito, nagkakaroon ng unity or yung cooperation sa bawat grupo. Yun yung tinatawag natin na group cohesiveness. On the other hand, there are negative effects also of conflicts, syempre naman. So, kapag madalas na may conflict sa atin, hindi lang sa store, kahit sa ibang mga bagay, nare-reduce or nababawasan yung productivity. Kasi nga, yung time na dapat, yung time and effort na ginugol natin sa sa iba pang mga bagay, ay naigugugol natin sa pagresolba or sa pagkikipagtalo or sa pagharap dun sa conflict na kinakaharap natin. Minsan, it delays the decision-making process kasi nga napakadaming questions, meron pang mga gulo, meron pang mga diskusyon, kaya napapatagal yung decision-making process na dapat ay mas mapapabilis pa sana siya. So, in addition, dun sa positive and negative effects of conflicts in an organization, meron din tayong mga tinatawag na healthy conflict and unhealthy conflict. Okay. So, pag sinabi nating healthy conflict, it can make our group consider a wide range of options. Yun nga, nakakapag-isip tayo ng iba pang mga solusyon. Next is it boosts creative thinking. So dahil nag-iisip tayo ng solusyon, it boosts our creative thinking. So nag-iisip tayo, mas lumalawak yung ating pangunawa or pag-iisip. It keep our groups attentive to all interests. So dahil nga nag-iisip tayo, so nagiging attentive tayo at the same time. It help hear everyone's ideas. So now, kailangan natin ng mas madaming ideas para mas ma-resolve natin or mas makatulong sa resolution dun sa naging conflict. It focus on the facts and stay objective. So dahil nga sa dami na din ng ideas ngayon, kailangan natin siyang isort. Kaya madalas, mas nagiging maayos yung selection natin nung mga facts and pag nagsiselect tayo ng facts, nagiging mas objective tayo. Diba? So it use a logical approach to consider solution. So almost the same with statement number 5. Ayan. Pag sinabi naman natin unhealthy conflict, it can encourage those who think they are right to feel superior to those who are wrong. So minsan, dahil nga nagkakaroon ng conflict, it encourage other people yung masyadong yung masyadong tingin nila sa sarili nila ay mataas. So it encourages them to think na lagi silang tama. And yung mga nasa mababa naman, they feel being wrong. Ayan. So kailangan ito maiwasan natin ito. So number 2 is it bring out personal attacks and blame. So sometimes ang conflict is about organizational growth or about the organization. Sometimes nahahaluan natin ito ng mga personal attacks para lang ma-dishearten yung tao. So, yun yung mali doon. Pag yung conflict na professional conflict, nahahaluan na natin ng mga personal na bagay na dapat hindi na siya dinidiscuss. Number 3 is it generates distrust dahil nga nagkaroon ng conflict, minsan nawawala yung tiwala natin sa tao. Ayan. Number 4, it stifle collaboration. Minsan din napipigilan or nare-restrain niya ngayon yung collaboration kasi nagkakawatak-watak tayo kung hindi natin na ma-manage ng maayos yung conflict. Number 5, it make participants upset. So, sino ba naman? Lahat naman siguro tayo kapag kapag dumadating tayo sa punto na nagkakaroon ng conflict, minsan nagiging upset tayo at madalas nadadala din natin siya sa bahay. Alright, so now that we know why does conflict arise and its effect in our organization, magtungo naman tayo ngayon sa resolution aspect na. And one recommended strategy for conflict management is ang tinatawag natin na conflict resolution toolkit. So ano nga ba ito? So conflict resolution toolkit includes number 1, win-win approach. When we say win-win approach, dito na tayo pumapasok, dito na natin pinapasok yung cooperation. Cooperation, unity ng bawat isa. Pangalawa is yung compromise. Compromise in a sense na dapat meron tayong tinatawag na give and take. Hindi yung pwedeng ikaw lang lagi ang humihingi, ikaw lang lagi ang nagsasalita. Dapat give and take tayo. So that's a win-win approach. That's our win-win approach. Second is creative response. Pag sinabi natin creative response, paganahin natin po ang ating mga utak to turn problems into possibilities. So, baliktarin natin yung pangyayari. Instead of this is currently a conflict, gawin natin siyang solution. Diba? Next is empathy. So, madalas natin na pag-uusapan ng empathy, sana hindi natin nakakalimutan. When we say empathy, it means patience and understanding. Diba? So, dapat sa lahat, ito yung napaka-importante kapag may mga conflict na nag-arise, especially sa ating mga team members, sa ating mga customers, pairalin po natin yung empathy or yung tinatawag natin na patience and understanding. Next is yung appropriate assertiveness. Ano nga ba yung appropriate assertiveness? Assertiveness in a way na dapat may proper timing yung pag-a-assert natin or pagpipilit natin sa isang bagay. So, it's a proper timing lang talaga. Hindi naman kailangan agad-agad i-assert natin yung ating sarili or i-assert natin yung ating ideas. Okay. Next is cooperative power. Ano ba yung cooperative power? So, ito yung kasama dun sa ating win-win approach. So, let's find options. Let's redirect yung ating conflict into possible solutions. Number 6, one also of the most important aspect when managing conflict is yung managing our emotions as well. Pag sinabi natin managing emotions, ikaw mismo sa sarili mo, you know how to handle yourself. And at the same time, you know how to handle others. So, ibig sabihin po nito, kapag ka masyadong on the top ka of your emotion, on your top ka of your anger, kailangan ma-maintain mo, huwag ka munang gumawa ng desisyon. Kasi possible talaga na mali yung magiging desisyon mo kapag ka you're on the top of your emotions. Ayan. Next is negotiation. So, dito na papasok yung kailangan meron na tayong common grounds. Kailangan mag-meet na tayo halfway. Maghanap tayo ng mga bagay na doon tayo mag-meet, di ba? Dito na papasok yung inventive, let us be inventive about options and kailangan clear yung agreement natin talaga with the other person or the other people. And number 8 is mediation. Ano nga ba yung mediation? Pag sinabi nating mediation, kailangan yung understanding natin or yung mga solutions natin or yung tawag nito, yung tingin natin sa isang bagay is dapat objective. So let us be objective and supportive at the same time. So dapat nasa gitna lang po tayo. Huwag tayong mag-judge sa tao agad-agad. So let's find muna facts before tayo mag-decide. So kailangan nasa gitna lang po tayo. Okay. Next is we should broaden our perspective. So the same also with mediation. Kailangan wala munang judgment. Let us, pag sinabi natin broadening perspective, dapat na-maintain natin yung respect and value for differences. Tandaan natin na iba't ibang klase po ang bawat tao. Iba't iba po tayo ng pag-uugali, iba't iba tayo ng perspective. So kailangan po natin intindihin ito. So another conflict management strategy is this one, yung tinatawag natin na Thomas Kilmann Conflict Mode Instrument. So kung mapapansin niyo dito sa diagram ni Thomas Kilmann, merong 5 na strategy in managing conflicts. Number 1 is being competitive. So kung mapapansin niyo, nasa peak siya ng being assertive at the same time, competitive. Pangalawa is yung collaborating or being collaborative. Medyo nasa mataas siya pagdating sa being cooperative at mataas din siya sa pagiging assertive. So ito yung parang positive aspect, no? Being collaborative. Number 3 is yung avoiding. So kung mapapansin niyo, both sa pagiging assertive at pagiging cooperative is napaka-low. Siya yung pinakamababa. Kasi nga, you avoid the situation eh. Instead na kailangan harapin mo siya para ma-resolve mo siya agad. So you avoid it. So you are not being assertive and at the same time you're not being cooperative. And yung tinatawag natin na accommodating. Pag sinabi natin accommodating, napakataas naman ito pagdating sa cooperation. Pero napakababa naman ito sa pagiging assertive. Kasi madalas kapag accommodating natin, cooperative natin, nababawasan naman ngayon yung pagiging mas nagiging submissive naman tayo sa bagay-bagay. So, minsan natatabunan din tayo ng mga desisyon ng ibang tao. So, ang best way to resolve conflict is itong nasa gitna. Compromising. Diba? Pag sinabi natin compromising, it's give and take. Kailangan nasa balance ka, nasa gitna ka. You find common grounds. Or yung tinatawag natin na mediation. Okay. So, to explain it further, ayan. So, pag sinabi natin competing, ito yung nasa taas ng assertiveness na aspect ng ating Thomas Kilmann na conflict mode instrument. Ang goal natin dito is to win kapag competing or yung being competitive or being assertive. Madalas na behavior kapag masyado tayong assertive is we monopolize the conversation, parang tayo lang lagi ang nagsasalita kasi nga napaka-assertive natin. Madalas din dahil napaka-assertive natin, hindi na natin pinapakinggan yung iba or we're not listening anymore. Masyado na natin ina-exaggerate yung mga bagay-bagay, pinapalaki na natin, di ba? And we attack people, so masyado nung personal yung attack instead na of resolving the problem. Is it good or bad? Yes, there are good aspect and bad aspect of being assertive. Number 1 is it stands up for what they believe in. So yun, dahil assertive ka nga, talagang pinapanindigan mo kung ano yung pinapaniwalaan mo. Being assertive also means you fight for your team. Talagang andun yung paninindigan mo sa team. Talagang fina-fight mo sila from simula pa lang up to sa dulo. Number 3 is it can be or it may be seen as insensitive and selfish sometimes kasi nga you're not listening, you're monopolizing the conversation or you're attacking the other person. So napaka-insensitive. Minsan napagsasabihan tayo na masyado na tayong insensitive and selfish. And this behavior may seem to undermine goodwill and trust. So ito lang yung mga dapat nating ingatan sa pagiging assertive natin. Ayan. So yung competing or being competitive naman is effective kapag ginagamit natin ito sa quick decision or decisive action is needed, di ba? Kapag kailangan natin ng agad-agad na solusyon or decision, yan, mas magandang gamitin natin yung pagiging assertive natin. Okay, or pagiging competing natin. Next is when unpopular action must be taken on important issues. So kung napaka-importante ng issues, kailangan natin ipasok yung ating action. So yan, mas maiging gamitin natin yung ating pagiging competing or pagiging assertive. Next is when the issue is vital and the right course is clear. Kung sa tingin mo nasa right course ka naman, yan, maiging gamitin natin yung pagiging competing natin. To protect against people who take advantage of non-competitive behavior. Sometimes, kung kailangan na natin i-protect yung ating team, madalas, mostly sa ating team ay masyadong tahimik. So, kailangan ikaw ay mag-stand up naman ngayon. Kailangan i-assert mo, kailangan ikaw yung competitive, assert mo yung ideas mo for the good of your people naman. TKI natin na conflict mode or conflict style natin is yung tinatawag natin na avoiding. Kung mapapansin niyo, in terms of avoiding, the goal here is to delay. So pagdating sa being assertive, napakababa nito, at saka sa being cooperative, ito din yung pinakamababa. So pag sinabi nating avoiding, ang mga behavior nito ay number one, it misses the meetings. Minsan hindi tayo pumupunta sa mga meetings kasi nga we avoid the conflict or we avoid the conversation. Pangalawa, it also avoid co-workers. So for example, kung meron kang ka-conflict na katrabaho or ka-conflict na colleague sa trabaho, so instead of kausapin mo siya, you avoid him or her. Number 3 is you withhold information. So instead na kailangan mong i-share, kailangan mong ilabas kung ano yung information para ma-resolve agad yung conflict, withheld mo ito or tinatago mo lang ito sa sarili mo. So is it good or bad? So ano ba yung good or bad aspect nito? So number 1, it is may mga side steps ka and let others handle things. So parang tinatanggal mo yung sarili mo dun sa conflict, hinahayaan mo lang na yung iba ang mag-handle nito. Pangalawa is it can be seen as not caring or not interested. So ibig sabihin parang hindi ka masyadong interested sa ibang tao or doon sa mismong organization kasi nga kung may mga conflict, hinahayaan mo lang siya. Number 3 is you delay the responses. So instead nga na ma-resolve natin ito, mas na-delay pa natin yung mga responses or yung resolution for that particular conflict. So, avoiding is actually effective kapag yung issue natin is relatively trivial. So, kung hindi naman masyadong importante. When you know you can't be satisfied, kapag sa tingin mo hindi ka naman mananalo dito, so kailangan i-avoid mo na lang siya. When the cost of conflict outweigh the benefits of resolution, kung yung conflict mismo is hindi naman siya nakakatulong dun sa buong organization, so hayaan na lang natin siya. To allow time to cool off sometimes, yan, it's a good thing also. Siguro ito lang yung effective way of avoiding kasi para at least it allows yourselves and the other person as well na to cool off para palamigin muna natin yung ating mga ulo. And last is when others can resolve the issue more effectively. So we avoid the conflict or we avoid the resolutions of the conflict kasi we believe na baka yung iba mas makakatulong at mas may mabibigay na resolution kaysa sa iyo. Next TKI mode is or yung conflict management mode or yung tinatawag natin na being accommodating. So pag sinabi natin accommodating, our goal naman here is to yield. Pag sinabi natin yield is para magbigay. So para pagbigyan. So ang accommodating, ito ay nasa mababa na aspect pagdating sa being assertive, pero napakataas nito sa pagiging cooperative. So parang 50-50 siya in a way. So being accommodating naman, ito yung mga behavior niya. So sometimes we sacrifice, sige, hayaan na lang natin, let me sacrifice na lang para lang maayos natin to. So masyado kang submissive. So ito yung ibig sabihin natin ng pagiging accommodating. May allow questionable decisions to move forward. So hinahayaan na lang natin yung ibang mga decisions kahit na questionable ito at hindi pa siya actually talagang na-close na bahala na, parang yung may mga ganung aspect kapag masyado tayong accommodating. It bends the rules sometimes na dapat ito yung nasa COC, ito yung nasa rules natin, tapos binibend natin siya kasi nga masyado tayong accommodating para lang matapos na yung conflict. It wants to appease others. So yun nga, yung parang para matapos lang, para wala nang gulo, so let's accommodate na lang. So cooperative na tayo pero yun nga, hindi tayo ganun ka-assertive. So yung good at bad nito na aspect is it allows others to get their way. So, mas parang binibigyan natin ng pagkakataon yung iba na ipilit yung kung ano yung gusto nila. It tolerates decisions they don't agree with. So, tinotolerate natin yung mga decision kahit na hindi naman tayo fully 100% agree or fully 100% na naniniwala. So, hayaan na lang natin. It goes with the flow. So, yan, bahala na. It goes with the flow. So, ito yung ibig sabihin ng accommodating. It doesn't rock the boat. So, ibig sabihin, hindi ito actually nakakatulong para ma-resolve yung conflict. Okay? So, pero sometimes, accommodating naman is effective. When you are wrong, learning is important or demonstrating reasonable critical. So ibig sabihin nito, kung sa tingin mo mali ka, so much better na maging accommodating ka na lang, mas maging cooperative ka na lang. So dito papasok or dito effective yung pagiging accommodating kapag alam mo sa sarili mo na ikaw yung may pagkakamali. Okay? So when creating goodwill is paramount. So kapag ang tawag nito, ang pinaka-objective mo naman ngayon is to create goodwill, yung parang magiging maayos yung relationship mo with others, kaya nagpaparaya ka na lang. When harmony is important. So ganun din para hayaan na lang natin yung naging sitwasyon or yung naging conflict. Magpaparaya na lang ako para ma-maintain pa din natin yung harmony and unity within our team. And next is, andito na tayo sa talagang positive aspect of TKI in terms of conflict management. So ito yung one of the mode or one of the conflict resolution mode na talagang magagamit natin. Okay? So ito yung pagiging collaborating. So ano ba yung collaborating? So in terms of assertiveness, mataas tayo. In terms of being cooperative, mataas din tayo. The goal here is for mutual participation. Ito na yung tinatawag natin na give and take. So, sige, let me speak my piece, let me hear your piece as well, mag-meet tayo halfway. So, parang ganun siya. No, though it doesn't mean na meet agad-agad halfway, pero pinapakinggan natin yung side ng bawat isa. So, ang behaviors na ganito naman is over-analysis. So, ibig sabihin masyadong ina-analyze naman yung mga bagay-bagay. Risk sharing. So, ito, sige. So, kung ito yung magiging resolutions, ito naman yung mga risk. So, let us share the risk. So, kung ano mangyari, so, bahala na. Or parang both tayo dito mananagot. So parang ganun siya. It continues to problem solve even when it's not working. So sometimes kapag masyado tayong assertive at masyado tayong collaborative, yun nga, it continues, yung problema is nagtutuloy-tuloy pa din pero hindi siya ganun ka nasusolve agad-agad. And sometimes kapag masyadong collaborative, nagkakaroon tayo ng pagiging indecisive. So hindi agad-agad tayo nakaka-create ng solution. So is it good or bad? So this is great at seeing both sides of the discussion, yun nga. And then it allows others to have an opinion and express them. It may be seen as someone who doesn't want to take responsibility for decisions. Ayan, so walang specific decision kasi nga bahala ka or ikaw din bahala ka, parang ganun. Okay. So, pero collaborating is effective kapag when it's important that both sides be integrated. So kapag kailangan natin nga ma-integrate yung ideas ng bawat isa. When you want to learn and fully understand other views, so yan, medyo magte-take time nga lang siya kasi nga 50-50, balikan ng information, pero in a way, mas maiintindihan mo yung side ng bawat isa. To merge different perspective and insight. So yun nga, para makakuha tayo ng mas madaming insights and solutions. To work through hard feelings that have interfered with interpersonal relationships. So para at least mabigyan natin ng time na maayos natin yung mga hard feelings na nararamdaman natin. So ito yung mga masyado ng personal na aspect. So and lastly, doon sa ating TKI na mode is yung tinatawag natin na compromising. So, pag sinabi natin compromising, our goal here is to find the middle ground. So, pag sinabi natin middle ground, kailangan hinahanap natin yung common grounds ng bawat isa kung saan magkakasundo tayo. So, may mga behaviors lang in terms of compromising kasi pag sinabi natin compromising, hindi ka masyadong assertive, hindi ka din masyadong cooperative. So, in a sense, nasa gitna ka lang. Okay. Kapag nasa gitna tayo, minsan kailangan maayos yung ating posture. So, actually, yung posture kasi natin, it means na eto ako, may panindigan ako, pero kailangan ko pa din na, in a way, may mga times pa din na kailangan nating mag-bend para maayos natin yung ating conflict. In a way, we rush to settle the conflict, kung anumang conflict. Kaya talagang naghahanap tayo ng middle grounds or common grounds, common denominator para maayos natin yung conflict. Minsan, kailangan nating bawasan or yun yung tinatawag natin na eroding a principle. Kailangan nating i-bend yung ating mga principles, mga paniniwala para lang maayos natin yung ating conflict. So, yun yung tinatawag natin na compromising, yung give and take natin. So, ano yung good or bad side nito? It is great at making fast decisions. So, mas mapapabilis kasi nga meron tayong give and take na aspect. where it meets the needs of both sides. So both side is happy. Ito yung parang win-win solution natin. But sometimes it can be seen as someone who just wants to move on. Parang ibig sabihin ng iba is nagko-compromise ka na lang para matapos na yung issue. Okay? Minsan it doesn't want to spend time debating or discussing the issue in full. So let's find the possible solutions. Huwag na natin masyadong pag-isapan pa yung issue ng kabuuan. Okay, so compromising is effective kapag yung goals natin are less important than avoiding the disruption caused by more assertive conflict resolution styles. When people have equal power and commitment to mutually exclusive goals to quickly reach a solution, ayan, nakakatulong to yung pagiging compromise when it's important to reach a win-win for all involved. So ito yung tinatawag natin na win-win solution. Okay. Okay, so now there's another recommended strategy for conflict management. Ito yung tinatawag natin na 5-step process to resolve conflict. Actually, this is more simplified or summarized version. So let me show you. So yung tinatawag natin na 5-step process to resolving conflict includes number 1 is to analyze, number 2 is to connect, number 3 is to understand, number 4 is to align, and number 5 is to resolve. So I'll explain it briefly. Number 1 is to analyze. So it means na before tayo mag-conclude, before tayo mag-jump into conclusions, let us analyze first, ano ba talaga yung problem? Okay? Ano ba yung causes ng conflict? Or meron bang underlying interest about this conflict? Let us map out yung context and understanding ng bawat stakeholder. So ito yung importante, yung pag-analyze muna ng problem or ng conflict. Bakit ito nangyari? Next is to connect. Second is to recognize that to solve problems, there must be a relationship. So balikan natin yung ating building rapport na training, di ba, or na module, na balikan natin yung mga tao na or stakeholders na kasama dun sa naging conflict at balikan natin yung relationship natin sa kanila. This time, kailangan ipairal natin yung ating empathy or yung tinatawag natin na understanding and patience, di ba? Kasi in a way, mas maintindihan natin kung ano ba yung perspective, saan ba nanggagaling yung bawat isa, di ba? At the same time, let's show respect and let's create rapport. Okay? Number 3 is to understand. Now that we already analyzed, we already connect, now let's understand. So, pag sinabi nating understanding, di ba meron tayong key principle na seek first to understand. So, ano nga bang ibig sabihin ng principle na ito? So, seek first to understand actually means na ito yung principle which is associated with effective communication and actually with interpersonal relationship. Pag sinabi natin seek first to understand is we prioritize understanding the perspective, feelings, and concerns of others before tayo mag-attempt to express our viewpoints or solutions. Ayan. And next, kapag yun na, we already analyze, will already connect with the stakeholders, we understand the situation, now it's time to align. So pag sinabi nating align, dito na tayo nagko-compromise, dito na tayo naghahanap ng common ground or we build consensus. At the same time, we build trust and goodwill, di ba? We maximize yung overlapping natin na diagram, yung tinatawag natin na rapport, tinatawag natin na compromising. Diba? So ito na yung alignment stage. And lastly is kapag na-analyze natin, we connected na with the people involved, we understand na the situation, we align na with them, it's time na to find resolution. Dito na yung resolving aspect. So this time we put emphasis on shared interest and goals. So ano ba talaga ang goals natin? Ano ba yung objective natin? Bakit natin pinag-uusapan yung conflict na to? Or bakit na-open yung conflict na to? Okay? So doon tayo papasok. So making movements on both sides. So kailangan both sides nung both parties of the conflict, kailangan may mga kanya-kanyang task na tayo and assignments to to resolve the conflict. And making yes easy to say and agreement easy to achieve. So kailangan mini-measure din natin or binabalikan natin ng from time to time or sinasummarize natin kung ano na ba yung na-achieve natin to resolve this conflict. Okay, so again, that's the 5-step process to resolve conflict: analyze, connect, understand, align, and resolve. So just another tip or another strategies is yung tinatawag natin na 6 communication strategies. So ano-ano nga ba ito? So number 1 is to don't react in anger. So sabi nga natin kapag ka nasa on top ka ng emotions mo, napakataas ng emotion mo, nandun ka pa sa taas ng galit mo, huwag ka munang gumawa ng any decision. Kasi may possibility na nasa emotions, sa peak ka ng emotions Kaya hindi ganun ka objective yung magiging decisions natin. Possible na maging mali yung magiging decision natin. Next is to be specific when describing the offending situation. So, kailangan specific ka to describe ano bang naging problem. Bakit ka pa na-offend? Bakit ba nagkaroon ng conflict? Be specific, dapat walang paligoy-ligoy. Next is to explain how the situation affected you. So in addition to being specific, to describing the situation, be specific also kung how it affects you. Bakit ka ba nagrereklamo? Bakit ba tayo nagkaroon ng conflict? Kasi nakaka-apekto na siya sa akin. So you need to discuss it also. Next is to ask for the other's point of view to get clarification if needed. So tanungin mo sila. Sa tingin mo, bakit kaya? Bakit ba tayo dumating sa ganitong pangyayari? And tama ba yung pagkakaintindi ko sa bagay? Di ba? Para makuha mo yung clarification na kailangan. Next is to acknowledge your contribution to the situation. In a way also, wag mo namang ipukol or wag mo namang i-blame lahat yung naging problem or naging conflict doon sa tao or doon sa other party. Kailangan din you have to acknowledge na at the same time, meron ka ding somewhat pagkakamali. Di ba? Next is to invite the other person to work with you to improve the situation. So dito na pumapasok yung conflict resolution. So dito na pumapasok yung compromising. Dito na tayo naghahanap ng common grounds. And additional is to be proactive, not reactive. So ano bang ibig sabihin nito? To learn how to deal with the conflict. So yung mga napag-usapan natin kanina, ang dami na nating tips na binigay, di ba? Next is to create process for identifying conflict in early stages. So as much as possible, as early as possible, kailangan nakikita na natin kung maliit pa yung conflict, nakikita na natin para hindi pa siya lumalaki, nabigyan na natin siya ng solusyon. Next is to understand your organization's code of conduct and house rules. Napaka-importante po nito. Kasi our COC and our house rules will serve as our guide in everything na ginagawa natin, especially kapag may mga ganitong conflict. Dito tayo, babalikan at babalikan natin ito. Next is to promote respectful workplace where everyone supports each other. So, yun. Kailangan, number 1 is meron nami-maintain natin or on top lagi sa atin yung respect in workplace. Work in teams and set collective goals. So, no man is an island. Hindi po tayo pwedeng tayo lang mag-isa. Kailangan natin yung ating team. Kailangan natin yung ideas nila for a collective goals or para sa isang vision natin. So, that's the summary or that's the end of our discussion for conflict management. So, hopefully, you have learned something from this discussion. So, to summarize our discussion for this topic, so conflict arises from differences of opinions, ideas, beliefs, values, needs, or objectives. It causes friction between individuals. So the types of conflicts include intrapersonal, di ba? Interpersonal, intergroup, and functional conflicts. The positive aspect of conflict is that they improve cohesiveness within organizations. So hindi lamang po puro negative ang conflict. It has a positive aspect as well. According to Thomas Kilmann conflict mode or yung tinatawag natin na TKI, meron tayong 5 major styles of conflict management. So, di ba? Yung number 1 is collaborating, number 2 is competing, number 3 is avoiding, number 4 is accommodating, and lastly is compromising. Meron din tayong yung simplified or yung summarized version, yung 5-step process to resolve conflict. It includes analyzing, connecting, understanding, aligning, and resolving. So one key to resolving conflicts is to be proactive rather than reactive. So lagi po natin itong tandaan. So that's it, and thank you ulit sa inyong pakikinig. So sana ay may natutunan kayo on how to resolve conflict or how to manage conflicts in our organization and our workplace. So kita po ulit tayo sa susunod na topic of this chapter. Thank you!